Just like that.
I know.
Just like that. Bam. On, live, camera, ready, action.
George's surprised every time.
Every time.
But
George, we're doing this for a living. We're trying to. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, I saw this thing where, everyone talks about the subconscious, and when you wake up in the morning, hello, good morning. Positive affirmation. I know, George.
Oh, here you go.
Is this on the right side? Yes. Is it, you're supposed to trick your subconscious when you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, today's going to be a great day.
Talk slower. It's not a race. It's not a vocabulary race.
Today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. And it's like, it sounds silly to do that, but you're kind of tricking your subconscious.
I can't tell you how many. I used to do that every day.
Did you?
I do 30 minutes a day of that shit.
Well,
every morning.
Of that shit.
That's when my life was in its best shape ever. I don't do it anymore.
Well,
my life is crumbling to hell.
You used to be a big meditator, and
you do the self affirmations. Today's going to be great. Sales are coming to me today.
I didn't know you.
I had a list. I had a list that I'd recite every morning, but I do it during my meditation, and it really helps. But have you been doing it? Where were you going with that?
Today I started.
Do you do the? You don't do the hooch?
I do that off and on. I kind of got a little slacky on that. Okay.
Tim's into the fads on that.
I'm a hypocrite.
Your beard looks really good. It's like the hair's all straight and it's freaking.
Well, I just
did you put some special product
in
it today?
I just brushed it up. Okay,
let's talk about Tim's beard for a while.
Moving on. Today's quick hit day, as you know, and so whatever kind of comes to mind or that strikes us, we pop off and kind of surprise each other sometimes with the subject matter.
Pretty soon we'll be able to just say it's quick hit day, as you all know.
Go.
No, you go first. You have more than me always.
Okay. There's been a request by.
I love it when that happens to you because it always happens to me.
They're trying to get the recording of Her's interview of Biden about the classified documents released.
Yeah.
The actual recording of it, not the transcript.
Calm down.
The recording of it. And
they won't give it to him.
The Department of Justice told a federal judge that accurate, authentic audio tapes of President Biden, I'm going to paraphrase it, can't be released because someone's going to get a hold of it and use AI to make up some type of, phraseology or whatever that's unbecoming to President Biden.
So they keep the original and then they have the proof that it's not true if it's AI.
Well, they've sent out the transcript. And the DOJ says that, yes, as a matter of fact, we did change the transcript a little bit here and there.
Oh, what?
Well, now, before we get too excited about that, what they usually mean is sometimes they insert a name that they were referring to that they didn't actually say, or, maybe they took out the ums and the uhs and things like that. But I'm curious about how much they cleaned it up.
And I have a question on, do they notate what they've added as a special subtitle?
That's a good question.
Because it must be a different color or something,
As an asterisk or whatever the case may be. But they did admit that they did redactions and other changes were made to the interview transcript.
Because all redaction is a blackout, So that's fine. But adding, that's nefarious, dude.
Well, redaction is taking something out.
Nefarious.
I think it's both. I don't know. But
synonymous.
My point in this, it certainly is the same word. You're just inflecting differently. But
accentuous.
The reason that they're trying to prevent this, of course, is because you're going to actually hear for yourself the way the President of the United States, who sits in the executive office, with his finger on the button, sounds when he's trying to answer simple questions and whatever the case may be. There's nothing classified that they were talking about.
Hunter, no, not at all. I mean, not at all. And it's just like, it's just going to show how feeble our commander-in-chief is.
That's a concern, of course. I believe. I mean, I really think that's.
But it also might crack the door open to other investigations. Something that he said in his feebleness, in his demented state or what have you.
Well, quite frankly, it is a demented state.
I know, but he could have said some shit in there that. Yeah. Opened doors to conspiracy theories that I've believed in for years. You know, hey, maybe somebody will kind of take the
pay attention to a little bit.
Yeah, pay attention.
Well, they're claiming executive privilege, and I just kind of think that what if it was Trump that was trying to prevent this? What would people say? They wouldn't tolerate it. You know, the MSM, the mainstream media wouldn't tolerate it. It'd be big news and all this kind of stuff. And the only point you drill down on this is you got to go to conservative sites and try and dig it out.
Well, you have to, yeah, of course. I mean,
so, anyway,
I don't trust anything. When I read something on MSNBC, CNN, whoever, you know, I just kind of go, how much of this is fake? Not is this fake? How much of this is fake?
Well, you know,
is untrue. Or
well, it's certainly skewed.
Skewed to manipulate to a spectacular degree. How about that?
Well,
that's just my personal. I just do not. I do not believe a word that is written. I have to. Anything I read there, I have to look it up. Anything I read there, I have to look it up.
Okay, well,
I don't read there a lot.
Okay, well,
that reason.
And you bring up a good point because on that, last thing is we all know that his report said that the jury would view him as an elderly man with a poor memory. So I would really like to listen to the audio recording of that whole thing and see what the heck happened. But you bring up the whole.
I'm all disheveled. I'm all off center.
Yeah, and you said I can't adjust you anymore.
That one time I snapped at you. Yeah, sorry about that.
But you mentioned how the fact that you can't believe anything anymore that you read, and unfortunately, a lot of people agree with you when it comes to the mainstream media. And when we talk about the Washington Post now has been kind of read the riot act by their publisher.
Will Lewis. That's a beauty.
And that they are losing large amounts of money. People are not reading your stuff, and he can't sugarcoat it anymore.
He retired, right? He quit, and then he said all this, right?
No, this is the current guy.
The old guy said something too.
The old guy on it, yeah, I believe so. But they've lost like $77 million in 2023 alone, and that kind of stuff. And 500,000, Washington Post readers have canceled their subscriptions, and subscriptions are still kind of the bread and butter of these, physical news packets that go out there, rather than online or whatever, because everyone's taken a hit, right? Because the way, like even conservative, Breitbart, Daily Caller,
advertising is where it is.
All these people are losing viewers,
right? And then they lose advertising,
and then they lose advertisers.
So
right.
that's advertising where it is, right?
In the case of the the Washington Post, a Harvard study found in the first 100
Post,
a Harvard study of the first 100 days found of Trump was in office. The Washington Post covered Trump negatively 83% of the time.
Well, I mean, okay, substitute Washington Post with CNN, New York Times, LA Times, ABC, NBC, MSNBC. Substitute that with any one of those, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Well, I agree with you. So the question is that how much of their readership loss is due to the fact of their biased reporting, and how much is just because of the fragmentation of people going online now for news and that kind of thing?
That's a good point, because there's no way to gauge that really. Well,
it's difficult.
I mean, I'm sure they have numbers on the amount of traffic they get, through the internet or whatever, through their e-marketing or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would work too. And we're just kind of first delving into it for the first time. We'll find out shortly if anybody would ever want to advertise with us, how your viewership affects your advertising.
So shortly, but it's just,
Hang on, phone's ringing off the hook.
I think my concern, though, is that, people are getting less, they're not doing critical thinking anymore and diving deep into articles.
You always say that, and I always agree with that, yes.
They're looking at headlines and TikToks and clickbaits, and they're thinking that tells them all they need to know, that Trump's going to destroy democracy.
The problem is there's really no. We're going right into the media bias here, which is a huge, deep subject.
Yeah.
But you can't even go to fact checkers really. Like the top 3-4 fact checkers they're non-factual. They're completely biased. But people look at it and they go, "Oh, fact check, it's good." They just look at it, but you really have to dig down in the minutia to find it.
Yeah, and everyone has a busy lifestyle, so you have to have some compassion for that.
But there's not really why are all the fact checkers liberal, like completely one-sided? Why are they?
I don't know, dude. It's just kind of this is how things have kind of been rolling along in the last 12 years,
and it's hit the tipping point, and we're seeing it. And this
you think it's a tipping point?
This is an example of it, you know. And look at and what you mentioned last week with the 19-year-olds vote. You know, the younger kids, the millennials,
Gen Xers.
Gen Xers, like they're
coming around to Trump,
coming around to capitalism,
which is
shall
interesting.
we say? And that like that going into the Washington Post leads me right into Target, actually.
All right, go.
Because Target, like you remember last year when Pride Decade hit on June, right? Remember that? That was, and you know, they lost $10 billion in 10 days worth of stock value. You know.
Okay, but can I just point out?
Hang on, let me get my next one, then you can.
Yeah.
Let me just point out that that
you did the nice, colorful headline there. You took the time.
Oh, down here.
And you did that. It's very fancy. We're all very.
I did the I missed the brown, the black, and the white, which I think is the queer section of the flag. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's.
I don't know, but I know the rainbow was LGBTQ in the beginning. But anyway, thank you, Tim. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, their stock went from 160 down to 138 in 10 days.
But it's climbed back.
It's climbed back to 145. I just looked at it this morning.
Oh, okay.
So it's still a 20% loss. So anyway, what found me Target Pride collection back from last year's Firestone, but has shrunk 75 items per year when they had 2,000 items last year.
Oh, they did.
So that's capitalism. Go woke, go broke, and I just love that. It's like, it's like, okay, let the market decide. Target's there for the money. This didn't make money. It lost us money. Obviously, it didn't sell as much as we thought it was, and all these LGBTQ clothing designers and suppliers of product to them are just up in arms and just screaming.
Oh, are they? Are they upset?
It's just like, come on, man! It's capitalism.
Well, let me mention.
You're 5% of the population. What Tim says a lot more, but
Let me mention quickly though is that I'm not averse to Target can sell whatever they want as a private business.
Exactly, and that's what capitalism.
Fine, and you can choose to not shop there or shop there. But the issue I had when they came out a year ago
go ahead.
Was that everything was being catered to the younger kids, and that the guy that designed for them did all these kind of
they're age phobic,
satanic wear and all that kind of thing. And it's like I just kind of felt like, okay, you got to be careful about who you align yourselves with because people are going to assume that you're supporting him and that agenda.
Even if the idiot executives thought it was a good idea because they're a bunch of woke idiots, and they realized the people that make money, the stockholders said, "Whoa."
All right, let's tap.
But no, I was going to ask you on your.
But you agree? It's like
100%.
I don't care if they sell. They can sell whatever they want, and I would still shop there. But the point is, don't target kids.
No, my point is that I had a question. Like, was the reason you're telling me that them selling all that giant LGBTQ right in the front section of the store, selling it to kids? You're telling me that didn't influence your decision not to shop at Target anymore? As much. That was one of my main decisions.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I thought you said it's because
don't target kids.
Oh, I thought you said in general the whole store became more kid-oriented. And
no,
it wasn't.
I didn't. That's not what I said.
Okay. Because I was going to tell you, they do have a geriatric section in the back corner.
Do they? No. I've been there. There's a lot of. You got to walk through the cobwebs.
That's the one I go to straight
to get there. Because no Jerry's shop at Target anymore.
Jerry's. Okay, you're up, Tim.
Am I?
I guess. I mean, I can go.
Okay, I want to do something kind of funny.
Go funny. Funny's good.
Okay, this is a guy that is raising hell in Seattle with his souped-up Dodge Hellcat, which is a Charger model car, and he's
Isn't it a $200,000 car or something?
I don't know what it is.
But it's a bitchin' car though. But.
Okay, but he put the exhaust on it and everything, and he's fires the thing up, revs the motor at all hours of the night. Apparently, tears up and down the street.
I'd be pissed.
He's been fined over and over and over. They just can't stop the guy. We'll talk about because we both
say $83,000 in fines.
Yeah, so they're trying to fine him $83,000 in fines.
Sorry,
and the funny thing is,
I jumped the gun.
It's okay. That's fine. He said that he has almost 700,000 followers because he roars around. Of course, GoPros everything and posts it on Instagram or whatever.
Oh my God!
And then because he has so many followers, it's paid for his car. and then some already. It's so hysterical. Check the rig out. Look at that thing, man. That thing looks, I gotta say, it's not my style of car.
It's a four-door.
But it's pretty, still, dude, it's pretty badass. Like I hope, I don't know, I don't even see it. Is he four-wheel drifting around corners and everything?
What do you say about four-door hot rods?
But you're talking to two.
What do you say about four-door hot rods, everybody? It has what? It has 2 doors too many.
Oh, is that the phrase?
Well, that's what you say. Go ahead. That's why coupes are twice the price.
I mean, I kind of laugh at this a little bit and think it's kind of amusing, but you know,
that's insane.
Dude, when I'm driving and a loud motorcycle goes by or even is near me, I plug both my ears.
I just, it doesn't go over the ringing in my ears. So
yeah, I mean,
my tinnitus is so loud.
I don't have great hearing to begin with, and it's like, but yet loud noises like that really affect me. And like you get it down here in the beach community, I get it somewhat where I am.
I have a quick little thing. We had this one. It was probably freaking 1:30 in the morning. And this guy was in this, it was like an expensive sports car, like a Maserati, I think. Something, or it wasn't a Lotus, but it was something that was Maserati or a Lamborghini. And he had these pipes on it that were probably what this guy's are like.
Yeah.
And he was kind of looking for a spot, but at the same time driving down to Balboa and driving down to the pier and back. And you could hear him. And I just like, and he'd go down the street, he'd race by here, he'd go down here, go down there, and I go out on the balcony and I'm looking around and
what were you gonna do? Were you gonna chest? Were you gonna shake your?
Friend and I are up.
You stop
like, that! Can you hear him? He's coming! He's coming! Get out of the balcony! And I'm like, what? So by the time I called the cops, I'm like, dude, there's some guy going, officer, there's some guy just cruising around here. He must have been by here 20 times already. So loud, just racing around. Oh, we're on it. And I saw him. I could see the cops. I go on the balcony. Bzz, 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 bzz. They're looking for this guy.
Oh, really?
And then they ended up, I heard him again, and I saw the cop cars going after him. And then he happened to come down my street after because we didn't hear him for a while. Yeah. I'm sorry for the lengthy story.
It's all right.
They were giving him a ticket, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so when he came out, he was like just barely on their throttle coming down the street, and I'm like,
well, they're supposed to ticket for noise ordinances down here.
They have a sign on Coast Highway.
I want to say how times have changed because you're calling the cops on somebody with a loud muffler. That's pretty funny. No irony there.
There is, but no, there is. There's a little bit of fabrication there too, because I always had good exhaust, not loud.
Oh, good exhaust.
This
not loud. Good exhaust.
Well, my T-Bro, was kind of loud. You might have something there. Yeah, I know, right? And the same thing with me calling the cops on the partiers. I used to party till 3 in the morning every day. I was the worst.
Every day.
Everything a day. Okay, let's go to the.
Oh boy.
The minimum wage hike to $20 an hour for California fast food.
Except if yes.
Yeah, I mean it's 10,000 jobs lost immediately. So
yeah.
Almost immediately. And you were mentioned that Rubio's had
closed a third of their stores.
Yeah, 48 of its stores.
Restaurants, yeah.
Also, everybody is 10,000 fast food jobs eliminated. Burger King, McDonald's, In-N-Out Burger are all going to raise their prices. Taco Bell, and it says Taco Bell pricing by 3%. Fat Burger said 8 to 10%. Chick-fil-A is going to do like 10%. You think that's kind of incidental, but it's not. And on the scheme of thing, it's just unbelievable. But the thing that really got me about this,
yes,
Tim, was the exemption of this
law
for Panera.
Yeah,
for baking bread, baking goods.
That's right.
For the biggest donor, if you donate.
It's not just Panera. It's if any restaurant bakes bread on the premises, then they're exempt from this law.
And you know why? For some reason, because Flynn supported $100,000 to oppose the recall election against Gavin Newsom. He supported $64,000 to support his re-election campaign. He's his biggest donor, one of his biggest donors.
I know the loopholes are hysterical on it, but also they have a weird loophole where if the restaurants are in airports, they're also exempt. And I'm like, how does that?
Because they're not really fast food, I guess, if they're in a restaurant. I mean, I guess they are though.
Airport.
What did I say?
Restaurant.
If restaurants in a restaurant, if fast food is in a restaurant, wow, I'm losing my mind.
It's stuff that
if fast food is it really fast food if it's in the airport? I guess so. It would be classified the same, right?
Well, listen, the question for me.
The thing is, it's dirty. Gavin Newsom's dirty. That's all I'm telling you guys. Don't vote for him again.
Okay. Well, he can't run anymore because he's
you're right. Absolutely.
But at the end,
but Sarah's coming.
I'm a little bit torn with this whole thing. You understand? Because I do. $20 an hour is not that much. Just hang on.
Yeah, I'm about ready to jump down your throat, my brother.
I can see it, man. It's like starting to spin. But, it's like at the same time, you're like, these minimum wage jobs were always intended for people that were like...
That's what I'm talking about.
Part-time job, going to
entry level
school, going to college, whatever the case may be, not supporting a family
if you want to stay in it, you grow up to manager, and then you support a family as a manager.
Right, assistant manager, and then you do the logical...
That's how it goes.
Vertical upgrade, whatever. So, but at the same time, it's just like, if you're completely destroying the jobs market with this, then who's benefiting from it? Because these guys are not. The part-time workers are not. The guys that are even trying to support their family are not benefiting.
You're destroying the job market. You're destroying, the economy because everybody's kind of paying more for it. It's just like you're really affecting it as far as you can throw out the net.
Yeah. But Russell Brand, has come out and over the last few years. And
he should be your Fetterman.
He should be my Fetterman?
He should be your Fetterman.
He is my Fetterman. What do you mean?
He is my Fetterman.
Well, he said some things that are kind of insightful.
He's kind of being aware of what's going on.
Oh, he's more than just that.
Of course, yes.
He's more than just that these days. And it's like, forget about the fact that it's a celebrity, Russell Brand saying this.
Theorist with me.
And just look at what he said and not who said it. Because, Mike, what I'm getting to is the point of, people always ask, like, how can you vote for Trump? He's this, he's that, he's all of these. He's going to destroy democracy, which I keep saying. I know.
Just say how. Every time anybody says it, say how.
And it's like,
how would he do that?
There's no attempt at understanding why people are voting for Trump. I mean, everyone knows how I feel about Trump. And I don't need to kind of keep bashing that.
You're going into a Trump subject.
I'm not
Look
a
at
fan.
this.
But the point, I'm getting to this because there's no consideration for the other side of the aisle's opinion at all. No one wants to say, hey, why are you voting for Trump? Why do you think this? What about his policies do you like? What don't you like?
Well, they think you're bad. No one. You're just a bad person for supporting him.
That's right. That's all it is. It's cut and dried, and it's like Hillary says it. News people say it. Whatever the case may be.
Deplorable.
Right? It's like that's all it is. If you vote for Trump, you're horrible, blasphemous, renegade.
Takes a lot more courage
who wants
to say I vote for Trump in public than it does to say I vote for Biden.
You're just as worse.
That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, Russell Brand mentioned something along those lines. He said he's concerned about the snobbery and the contempt and condemnation in which people that support Trump are plainly held by his detractors, and that's exactly what we're talking about, is the fact that there's no thought process and consideration.
He talks pretty eloquently too.
He is very
well worded, He
is really
eloquent, as you would say.
Yeah, thanks. I'm struggling a little bit. But the last thing he said was that the Orwellian nightmare is continuing, all the while they're telling you that they're helping you.
Good for him. Well, that's the definition of the Orwellian.
Right.
Yeah.
But you look at all of the policies, George, when it comes to the Democrat-run, cities like Chicago, like Delaware, like.
You know what I heard today?
What's the place?
Delaware, Minneapolis,
LA,
New
Delaware's
York.
a state.
But, whatever.
What's the name of
the
that?
whole Delaware.
Okay, but anyway, they put these policies in place and say, we're helping you, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And when are people going to wake up to that?
We talk about this every week, and you're right. And it is coming that. I mean, what I just heard today on the radio was that in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in a couple other, the African American competency rate out of high school is 0. Like in some of these, and Democrats it was by Larry Elder said it. He's got an article in, I believe, Larry Elder, it's a piece he just put out, and I wrote it down, and I can't remember right now. But it goes into detail about this. And that should be when parents go, all right, I'm not a Democrat anymore. And there's a lot of people that are jumping, but it scares the crap out of me because right now, the Conservative Party is actually the 1980 Liberal Party.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the 80s. It's like the Reagan era.
So, I mean, the Reagan era of, hey, personal responsibility, if you die, if you sink, we have some lifeguard, life rings for you, but if you sink, you sink. It's personal responsibility.
Yeah. Well, most of these cities have been run by Democrats for, 20, 30, 40 years, and so there's no one to blame but that one.
But then when are they going to turn around? That's like, right, they win.
Yeah, well, and I also...
What did Tom Hanks say?
Speaking about the schools, is that there was, I don't know what city it was, but they were lamenting the fact that they were going to have to close some of the public schools because the parents were taking their kids out and putting them into charter schools, and they were acting like this somehow is not fair. But the point is that no one is forcing the parents to take their kids out of these schools.
It's not fair to the union, Tim.
That's what it is. It's not fair to the unions, and it's like the parents are taking their kids out and putting them in the school where they think they're going to get better attention and perform better, and actually,
what a terrible idea.
Graduate with some type of skill set, out of high school.
Send them to a trade school. Frick.
Well, anyway, do you have anything more?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're at 26 minutes.
Oh, you got to have them all. Okay, real quick, like you got on this. There was a madman. When was he? When was it? Yesterday? On Monday, in Riverside, which is pretty close to us. Just frickin' started walking down San Jacinto Boulevard in Riverside. You got. If tip this up, you got the video would be on the QR code there. But he just goes for just randomly, just aiming at people going by. Bam, bam, look at this. He's right out in the middle of the street on a Monday morning. Wham, wham, killed one guy, shot in the head. The guy was coming home from all night. He didn't have kids or anything, thank God. But still, it's just such a tragedy. And then the guy, he's just walking around. He had to be doing it. I don't know. I don't know what the response time was for the cops.
Yes, but
he emptied a full clip, just threw it out, then threw his gun, then stripped naked. And then the cops came when he was stripped naked.
That's a nice little bonus there. Not to make light of it, but to strip naked at the end. That's really kind of buttoning that up. But here's the thing, bro, is that I look at it like this stuff happens. And it's like, I don't know who we're blaming. No one's to blame for this.
Let's just watch. Let's see what Gavin Newsom says about gun control. When we're the most stringent state in the union.
So, but I mean, this guy's obviously off his rocker, and he's
I didn't put a picture of him. Yeah,
and it's like, and that happens.
Could you imagine going to work and bullets flying? Well, it could happen anywhere.
Well, anyway, it's a tragedy, no matter how you slice it.
You got to watch this video. It's just like, could you put yourself in that situation?
I don't know if I want to watch the video.
Well, you do for I guess defensive knowledge, for lack of a better description. Like you see somebody, what do you do? And it gives you a better visual of how you should react to those situations.
Yeah, right.
And then you can come to my class. Urban hiding.
Urban hide. How to urban hide. Speaking of, we had the earthquake yesterday.
Clear fight. Oh yeah, I was going to put that in too.
Did you feel that?
I didn't feel. I didn't feel the day before, but I felt both of them yesterday.
It was very unusual.
It was a bam.
Oh yeah, it felt like here in California.
I thought this thing fell down
real quickly. It felt like it was. I was at my home office desk, and it was kind of. You just felt this 3-second real minor shake, and I'm like, something's coming. And normally they kind of go.
I didn't feel the minor.
Shake, and then it kind of eases off.
That sounds like a song.
And then, and this one was just kablam! I thought a plane crashed 2 doors down or something. Literally, it felt like an explosion.
I was afraid. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I was waiting for that aftershock. But anyway,
but the good thing is relieving pressure from the fault line.
That's right.
So that's what we're happy for.
It's relieving pressure. That's exactly. And I feel that was a big jump. So,
and I'm glad.
But it was only a 3-6.
Yeah, right. And we're friends. I'm a friend. I mean, when they get to 5 point, then you really start to worry.
Yeah, right. Okay, but you asked about this because I had it up. I wasn't going to talk about it, but real quickly, is it, whenever there's a big event, and obviously
Who's Christiana?
She's for CNN. She's a reporter.
Oh, yes, okay.
And
she is, yeah.
What's happening is that every time there's a big world event like this, like that we celebrate every year, like Pearl Harbor, like Normandy invasion of D-Day on June 6th, as we all know. God bless all those guys and their families that threw themselves into it. But everyone needs to politicize it. And I haven't seen the right politicize it, but I would like to know, if you guys know where the right politicizes an event like this, because I would like it to just stay organic into can we just have some respect for all those young men?
Great observation, Tim. That's a great observation.
That threw themselves into madness and almost certain death by storming the beaches.
And Biden's wasn't that bad, but he had to throw out racism. He had to throw the trigger words out.
Well, racism is applicable here because of Nazism and Hitler.
Of course, and that's what he did it. But I could just see in my twisted mind. I could just see his little speechwriters going, you know,
how can we fit this in?
We got to put racism in there. We got to do this. I can.
Was he on a prompter?
Yes, he was. And he was squinting, and he was looking pale and
squinting.
Well, he didn't look good.
Christiane Amanpour from CNN interviewed Tom Hanks, and of course she has to kind of insert this to see if she can get a rise out of Tom Hanks. And of course Tom Hanks, I believe, leans Democrat and all that, and those things he says. Well, I don't know, whatever. I try to stay away from that. I really respect Tom Hanks and what he's accomplished in the Pacific, and
I appreciate his talent. I think he's a moron when it comes to
masters of
I don't respect anything he does that believes politically. Go ahead.
Okay, but you know
he is a human.
He's
a loving, caring human.
He
hates me. I bet you he hates me for.
He doesn't hate you. You don't hate him. You just disagree.
He's said as such.
He said as such. Anyway, she was prodding him and said, without mentioning, Donald Trump, Biden will talk about the stakes for America and for the world. Finally, do you worry about the United States? Yada, 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 about democracy and freedom and everything these people died for if there's another Trump presidency. It's like this is what people are so upset with MSM too, I think. It's like, can you just leave the fucking politics when you're, that's so rare. So rare.
Wow.
When you're talking about something as monumental and dramatic as storming the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, can you just leave politics out of it and celebrities out of it?
Well, I agree, but 100%, Tim. I'm so glad you brought this up too. This is a good couple of points here at the end, but it's perceived from the Liberal Party, the most extreme left, I'm not going to blanket it again, but like when you talk about patriotism and loss of life and what they paid for to be patriotic for this nation, that's considered conservative now, and it should be considered everybody.
Right.
So that's why it's just been twisted so far.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's a rubber band that's wound up. So, then it'll come back.
And the plane's going to take off.
It's a pendulum. The pendulum's swinging so far this way.
No, it's a little balsa wood.
Those are so great. Remember those?
So anyway, there you have it. But to his credit, Hanks didn't take the bite, and he just kind of alluded to the fact that on our way to like a perfect union and there will always be some missteps along the way, et cetera, and he kind of bloviated a little bit, but he kind of got past it.
I love that word, bloviate. But I'm wondering there's quite a successful conservative film production house that is funding some pretty high dig films, and I'm wondering if this is a contemplation for us all to think about. But like these Hollywood actors that have been so hard left, so just insane, that they're saying, hey, I can get work also, so I don't have to hide, there'd be a closet conservative. I think there's quite a few closet conservatives
in Hollywood.
I
think so too, and they just kind of keep their mouths shut, or maybe they even...
As I said that, I'm thinking it's probably this many.
maybe even not along, but whatever the case may be. But interesting. So
good. Something, a good note.
Okay, I want to button up with a good note because as
one of these days, you guys, I'm going to have a good note to button up with.
No,
but I'm just Mr. Cynic.
I think you need to like kind of.
But I walk out that door, I'm smiling to everybody.
You sure?
Smile to the world.
Yeah, you are. This is where you get riled. Anyway,
very confused folks.
My wife, you walk around our house, and my wife has little notes and everything all over the place. Not just Post-its, but she makes these notes and makes them all kind of.
She draws them on stones.
Well, multicolored pens and little curly cues around the outside with special scissors and yada yada yada. And she puts them next to her mirror. And she puts them over here and she puts them over there. And it's funny. I don't roll my eyes at it. I think it's all great and good. Of course, it's like whatever you can do to kind of help ground yourself and whatnot. But anyway, this one I happen to go in her bathroom.
This is literally one of the notes.
And I saw this one, I'm like, what? And when I thought about you.
Tim, try to be nice to your mother.
And it just simply says, what does my higher self think is best for me? And I thought about both of us and that kind of thing when you get kind of and cantankerous at other drivers or this or that, and or somebody is bugging you or whatever, or any situation, and you stop if you can take a moment.
Your wife is so good about. God bless her for seeing the good And I mean, I remember you just get cut off horribly by somebody, and you're just about ready to slam on that horn and flip the birds. He might have been late for a meeting somewhere, and it was really important. His mother might have been in the hospital, and he had to get there now, Tim. And
you don't know what's going on with him.
And it's a beautiful trait.
Or she says, look around you and think of three things that you appreciate. Look at how green that tree is. Look at how, whatever. Look at that cool car over there.
Well, let me get furious for just a little second here, and then I'll be over there.
Well, we tease her, and sometimes she drives and I'm in the passenger seat, and it's all I can do to compose myself because she's over there in the number 3 lane.
She's a good driver.
And she is, but it's like, honey, everyone is going to be making right turns in these businesses, and we're not getting out of here for another.
And we love you, her.
Can you get over to the number 1 at all? But I don't say anything anymore because I'm there along for the ride, bro. I'm enjoying it. Anyway, what does my higher self think is best for me is something we can take, if we can just always take a little moment, ground ourselves before we react.
Well, that's what I say. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do that. And then I think, if I remain that way, we'll be a socialist country in no time at all. Thank you guys for watching.